stop in the offensive end. Halpert up ahead for Leifer. Leifer open for it. Throws the alley-oop for Terrell. Oh my goodness!
In association with College of Mount St. Vincent Athletics, the Ball Habatim presents the Yeshiva Maccabees versus the Mount St. Vincent Dolphins.
I think we're live, Warren.
We're live? Oh, okay. It's game night on the Ball Habatim. Glad you could join us. I'm Oren Glickman alongside the stat master himself, Shua Cohen. One half of the bandwagoners, it's Simi Cohen. And of course, on the ones and twos, we got Mayor Wiesel. And we have a special guest tonight, YU Max legend on the court and off the court, a former coach. We're going to get his perspective throughout the game. Benji Ritholtz. Benji, great to see you again. My fondest memory, actually, is interviewing you on your senior night, and you were the only senior who graduated that night. So therefore, it wasn't senior night; it was Benji Ritholtz night. So it's great to have this reunion with you and catch up on things. We'd love to talk about what you're up to in life and get your perspective as we see the Max back in action. Hopefully, continuing that skyline momentum that they got.
Absolutely, great to be here, Oren. I remember the interview well and fondly. It was a very awkward night. I remember somebody printed flyers of my face and put them on all the seats before the game, which was humiliating. And there's Ari Lamb's coming on. But it's great to be here. An honor to be on the Ball Habatim pod, doing a Max game, watching this awesome young fresh team playing really good basketball right now. So thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so going into tonight's Mount St. Vincent game, obviously the NYU game is not the result that we wanted, but, Mount St. Mary's actually gave them a good game. They ended up coming out on top. Mount St. Vincent, not the strongest team this year, but what do you think the keys are going to be to the win tonight, Benji?
I think tonight, going forward, this team, YU can really shoot the basketball, right? They have two of probably the two best shooters in the conference, arguably maybe the two best shooters in the country for all we know, in Oren and Zevi. You got to get shots, and turnovers have been the Achilles heel so far. Their last game they just played was a turnover mess. And for a team that shoots as well as the Max do, it's just really a matter of making sure that you are careful with the basketball and get shots up, because a lot will go in. And a team, I think there's a bit of a talent disparity here. Vincent struggled this year, as you guys were telling me before we came on, and shooting a low percentage, high turnover team themselves. So really just a matter of being smart with the basketball and getting your shots up. Enough will go in that I think they'll have the advantage for sure.
Shua, being the stat master that you are, you were actually doing some number crunching for us before we went live. Do you think obviously, I think YU are favorite tonight. Do you think Mount St. Vincent is going to have any shot taking home this dub? They're going to have to keep it a low scoring game.
I think that's one of the ways they have a chance of doing it. I just don't see that happening. They turn the ball over too much. Like their pace, the amount they play at a very high pace, but it's a little misleading. It's not that they play fast. They just turn it over so often that there's just a lot of possessions in their games. They turn the ball over on 25% of their possessions. It's 1 out of every 4. And they take shots early in the shot clock. They're not good looks. And especially so YU also turns it over about 20% of their possessions. It's this quite possibly will be a little bit of a track meet, not in like back and forth fast break type of way, but more in a little bit of a sloppy type of way. But if YU can keep it at least like somewhat clean, keep their turnovers below that of St. Vincent, their shooting is just so significantly above that of St. Vincent that I don't see them hanging in there with YU.
For those who are wondering, the reason why we haven't gone live with the actual game yet is because it was a doubleheader, and the women's game went to overtime. I believe the YU Lady Max pulled out the win, so we'll see if YU can make it 2 for 2. Benji, for some viewers might not be aware of the fact that after you finish playing YU ball, you were part of the coaching staff for a few seasons. Does everything with Coach Steinmetz's philosophy and approach seem very similar, or have you noticed some differences since when you were last part of the staff?
That's a great question. So the current system that they run, the motion offense that they run, was instituted the year I started. The first year that I started, which was I took a year off for my 1L year of law school and didn't coach or play. And then the following year I joined the staff with Elliot. And that was the year that Donnie came aboard and Coach Katz came on and kind of guided and innovated this offense that the YU runs. So in that sense, it's much of the same. I mean, it's the motion offense is what it is. And you can throw flurries and wrinkles in, and they do here and there, but generally it's the offense that they ran then, it's the offense that they run now. And similarly, the defense. So schematically, it's the same. The defense, they play a no middle kind of pack line philosophy on defense, try to force teams to the sideline, aggressive in help, force the weak side pass, and then rotate and force sideline again. So that kind of defense is the same as it was when I was there. So yeah, schematically it's the same. I like any coach, I think Elliot's grown and evolved as the years have gone on, and he's gotten more experience in high stakes games, especially with the success they've had in the last few years. So yeah, schematically much of the same. Like any coach, I think he's grown and improved. He's one of the best out there.
So yeah, Benji, I'm curious. So you called it no middle, and then you also said a pack line type. Isn't pack line, they try to they don't want to get beat baseline, and they kind of want to get drives in the middle, and then they kind of collapse on it and stunt on it, whereas no middle is you want to get beat, you want them to drive baseline?
That wasn't my understanding of pack line. That doesn't mean that I'm correct. But I can be safe in saying that it's a no middle defense. So if I misstated the label, that's on me. But yeah, it's definitely a no. They're definitely forcing sideline. That's the whole goal. Although one slight difference, like a really committed no middle defense actually ices screens so that you don't even allow you to get to middle on screen and roll. YU doesn't do that. They'll chase over screens and they'll blitz or hedge, but they're not going to force you sideline even on screens. So that's been Elliot's defensive philosophy since Yogev was his assistant. My first, Elliot came in my senior year of college, and that was the defense that we employed, and it's been the same ever since. So you're right. It's no middle is the correct title.
No, I was right. I was curious because you know more about it. So I was.
No,
it was some variation.
That's all right. No, I'm not sure, honestly. Not sure.
So one of the questions they had is that they do have a no middle defense, but the defense doesn't seem to be doing a very good job of no middle. There's probably multiple different reasons. They're usually slower than the opponents are more athletic off the dribble. But I'm curious your thoughts specifically in their pick and roll coverages and how that affects the no middle, and what you see that maybe could be tightened up schematically from from pick and roll defense.
Yeah, I think the consistency of the hedge hasn't been there. You watch, and I actually really think it's gotten better, especially from Dotan, who's really improved, I think, defensively last couple games. He's gotten really active, a bit foul prone because of that activity, but I generally really like what I've seen with his defensive growth. It's hard to adjust to a new scheme in the college speed, which is different.
With a smile on your face.
I'm a huge Dotan fan, so I love hearing Benji say that.
No, I am too. I really like what he's definitely he's growing before our eyes. I think you're really seeing it. He's not the percentages aren't where you want them to be yet, but he made 1 or 2 threes last game. But he made a couple big ones, and just defensively looks a little bit more in tune now. But that's, I think, been the big thing with screen roll defense is when the hedge isn't there, the whole thing breaks down, because then you're attacking the big who's basically in a drop, but he wasn't really playing drop, right? Because he's up by the screen, but he's not hedging. So it ends up just being the guard's going to break down that big every time. Defense collapses. That's where your corner threes open up. That's where your fouls get committed, because everyone's kind of off balance and not where they should be on the floor. So I think that's been a huge thing. I think Matan, obviously a little more experienced with the scheme, has generally been pretty solid. He gets split occasionally, but generally is solid as a hedger. And look, that's what teams run. They're going to run dozens of pick and rolls a game. So until you really have that hedge and recover scheme down, it's a bit hard to really play well defensively.
So I'm really excited about this episode because I'm looking forward to like learning a lot. I've been following you on Twitter and like your these words and terms that you're throwing around. So for me, like I'm a noob, I might ask some basic questions and I'm just looking forward to like honestly learning a lot more. Like I've been learning a ton from Shua. Let's start like the no middle thing. Like, What do you mean by that? Middle, meaning middle of the court. Like, does that mean threes, foul line? Does it mean like you're just forcing the opponent to make passes to the corner, like you mentioned? Is that, and what's the reasoning behind that? Can you give like some basics just around what you're talking about?
Absolutely, yeah. And anytime that I'm saying a term that is
some basics just around what you're talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. And anytime that I'm saying a term that is
some basics just around what you're.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Ari.
It's Ari's fault.
So yeah.
Liberty just walked in.
As per usual, my fault. What's going on, guys? Holy cow. We're doing it.
The return of Ari Lamb. It's been a while.
So this is where we all go to drown our sorrows about RJ Barrett and Julius Randle.
No. We're taking a night off.
Some of us are Nets fans on this call.
Oh,
really? Because you should rethink that, maybe.
Hits rolling this year.
I don't endorse the anti-Semitism part.
I don't know what
Okay,
to do with
good. Glad we got that out of the way. Oren does not endorse anti-Semitism.
I have Kyrie on my fantasy team. I don't know what to do.
Now that's endorsing anti-Semitism.
Yeah, it's arguable.
You think I should give up on? I should give up on my team.
Oh my God!
Listen, we all have to make sacrifices in life. You know what I mean?
If I had Kanye, I'd drop him.
Oh my God! I'm so excited for this. This is gonna be dope. Oh my God!
All right, so so we had Sim ask Benji a question. So Coach.
So what I was gonna say, Sim, is that first of all, anytime that I say
and cut everybody off. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Anytime that I say a term that is I don't know, I'm in my own little NBA Twitter bubble, so let me know. And also like a coaching bubble, like we kind of take terms for granted. And if please ask that whoever's watching can kind of get a more simplistic understanding of what I'm talking about, or just like explained well. So no middle. Yeah. So really whoever's guarding the basketball, assuming that they're on one side of the floor, the goal is for them to stay on that side of the floor. That's the mandate. Do not get beat towards the middle of the floor. And the reason for that is basically because if a driver goes middle, you can no longer really determine which is the strong side of the floor and which is the weak side, right? Weak side meaning the side the ball isn't on, strong side meaning the side the ball is on. So if you get beat middle of the floor by definition means there's no weak side, there's no strong side. Generally, we ask the weak side to help. So whoever's on the side of the court where the ball isn't is the one that's going to be middle in help. So if a guy gets beat, that's where the help comes from. As long as that help is coming from the weak side and the beat isn't to the middle, now we have it's hard without a clipboard, but now we have our weak side help coming over. Everyone's in position. The only pass that's available is a cross-court pass. Now, cross-court pass, by definition, the ball's in the air for a longer amount of time. That means that whoever's the next rotation has time to rotate, right? But if you get beat middle, who's supposed to help? It's unclear. I don't know who the weak side is. I don't know who's supposed to help. And then the pass, by definition, the ball's in the middle of the floor. Whoever's converging that pass to either side is quicker and there's no recovery, right? So the philosophy is shrink the floor, make sure that they're operating on whatever side of the floor they pick, they stay there. If they're going to get to the other side of the floor, it's got to be with a skip pass over the defense that'll allow everybody to recover. And it's clear who the weak side is and who needs to be the help on the drive. So that's really the philosophy.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. So can you?
If
and
you
I'm
have
not gonna do-
LeBron, the skip pass is the same as the strong side pass, but otherwise,
You know, it's fun. So it's interesting. So like Farmingdale, for example, their point guard is fantastic. I forget his name. You'll remind me if you guys
Santos.
remember.
Nick Hurwitz.
No, Javon Santos.
Santos, yeah, excuse me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Number three.
So the game's about to start. Well, I don't know. Are you guys streaming it on here? Is that how we're?
Yeah, and we'll
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
we'll do a Manning cast on.
Yeah, it's going to be the main screen.
Awesome. Yeah. So
Love
Santos took advantage of it because you notice how often he'd make one dribble and then he'd quickly fire that pass to the weak side corner. Max got beat on that, and that's good. First of all, good scouting, understanding what the Max are trying to do, and there are ways to kind of combat that I think the Max need to work on. Part of it literally is just being in good defensive stance with your hands up so that the pass isn't that easy, especially for a smaller guy like Santos. Like, it shouldn't be that easy to whip that pass to the corner. But yeah, that is the weak point. Most point guards in D3 and Skyline Conference can't make that pass consistently, which is another reason why it's a really good defense to employ at this level.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. I know, like Shua, we've talked this a lot, but as like, you know, on the Ball Habatim in general, we've talked about this. But the max, we typically talk about like the Max offensive scheme as like being really prone to just pretty rudimentary scouting, and you know, like there are counters to that, and we've seen the offense evolve in really good ways in response to that, we hope. But I haven't thought about kind of the Max defense as just being, you know, like what are the kind of counters that we should see put in place to that? Like, I remember last year when we asked Coach Steinmetz about, you know, how do we deal with the offense just getting scouted and people leaving Matan on an island or leaving Ofek on an island or whatever it is. And his response then, which I think is the kind of response that he usually gives, is like, well, you know, the offense will find its own chances. We don't have to worry about people scouting us. And I think what we've seen is that in reality, he's an excellent coach and good enough coach to kind of actually put in counters to the scouting. But how do we deal with that on the defensive end?
Yeah, defense is different from offense in the sense that you don't dictate terms, right? You don't have the ball. You're by definition reacting to some extent, and so it's harder. I mean, you employ a system, and like especially on the defensive end, a lot of it just comes down to: are we on a string? Is everybody in the correct position as the ball's moving around the floor? A, and then B, how much effort is there? Right? Like, our hands up in passing lanes so that the weak points aren't able to easily be exploited. Like, that's a very simple thing. Are we recovering to closeouts where, let's say, a pass is made to that weak side corner? All right, but are we reacting? Are we making the right rotation? Who's rotating? Right? So, like, whereas with offense, I think you want to make sure that your defenses are going to try to take away what you're good at, and it's about now, okay, how do we dictate terms differently to make it harder on them, to put more pressure on them? With defense, really the pressure points are only really from an effort standpoint, from an execution standpoint. Like, I just need to react correctly and with more effort each time that a pass is made. And so, like, for this example, like, yeah, the weak side corner after a screen with a no middle defense is usually open because our weak side defender is rotating middle. Okay. How are we recovering to that pass? Are we getting there in time? Are we running him off the line if he's a shooter? If he's not a shooter, are we closing out short and making sure that we're staying in front so that the next drive can't happen, right? Like that, those kinds of things where, again, like, you're trying to make the math work at some point. Are we forcing enough misses? Are we forcing the right shots so that the percentages won't get to the point where we're really getting hurt as a defense?
Guys, is that Zakheim on the court? Are you guys watching?
Zakheim I heard was playing.
Yeah, I thought at first it wasn't, but he has the ball. That's him, right?
Yeah. He just passed it.
I haven't seen him yet, so I missed the first 5 minutes of the first game, so I haven't seen. That's his three.
It's a three.
Now we're talking. Let's go, baby.
Go.
Zach time.
How do I make this?
That's why they let me on. That's why they let me on these.
How do I make this my main screen? Mine is so small.
I already gave Zevi Samet the gambit.
What a finish.
Benji, you could.
That was a beautiful hedge on the pick and roll, and then the finish was so nice.
Even when the picture's grainy like this, I can always tell who the Max are just because Zevi's yarmulke is so ginormous.
Hard to miss that.
It's the best in favor of huge yarmulkes.
Dude, what did you see there? What was the breakdown that you saw there, Benji? If you saw
So
that?
I am literally trying to figure out how to get it as my main screen, so I don't know the answer to your question, unfortunately.
You have to find Mayor and pin it.
Find Mayor and pin it. Bam!
Just double click on the one that's
Yeah,
For
take it out
all
of the gallery.
I got it now. For all of the Zoom meetings I've taken in my life in the last 3 years, I didn't know that. Okay, that's helpful. Now we're good. It is a little grainy. Wow. Mount St. Vincent's stuck in the 90s.
Are we on the highest?
Yeah, I think probably I'm watching it on my phone also. The picture's much better.
Yeah.
But I think it's my phone's behind this.
We have Dylan Hoed out there for the Dolphins.
All right, so is Vincent's in some kind of funky zone here? Maybe a boxing 2, a boxing 1.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was deflected.
Trying to figure out what they're in. I want to say it's either boxing 1 on Samet.
Well, yeah, it looks like there's definitely a 1 on Stan.
Yep. And I think they maybe just went, I think it's a boxing 1 on Samet. Which I would do too. Especially if I'm at a disadvantage, like skill-wise, I try to muck it up.
Ooh, not a great shot.
Yeah.
And not a great foul.
Well, honestly, like Salmon
We've been
reminds me
thinking they
so
would
much-
go boxing 1 against Salmon since like game 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, just no one knew who he was. Salmon reminds me sometimes of Jimmy Butler in that, like, you give him a wide open 3 and no defenders within 7 feet. I mean, brick. But put him like off his back foot, like 2 feet away from the half-court line. I mean, I have no doubt it's going in. Zero doubt.
I mean, it's been the case in the last few games. He makes the difficult ones. He misses the easy ones.
By the way, so that was a great example there, right?
Middle. Yeah.
The drive went baseline. The help was right in position there to make a play, and that's kind of the point. Is if you can do that enough, you're going to get more stops. Makes everything predictable. Everyone's in the right spot. Is that guy's a lefty?
Yeah.
We could use some lefties. Oh, we have Matan.
How many minutes do we anticipate for him tonight?
Charge?
Yep.
I don't know. I didn't hear
With
anything.
the type of defense they're playing, I think you should be able to get shots for Orange.
I mean, Benji, this is probably a good type of opponent to ease him back in, no?
And what's the meaning? Just because they're not that good? I would agree.
I mean, hopefully. Yeah. I mean, like, hopefully.
No,
we love our fellow Skyline folks, but, you know.
I'm telling you, Vincent's going to be scrappy. They always are, but I agree with you as a general point that it's not like, they're not playing Hopkins here. But
Matan scored that, but I like.
Yeah, the feed.
I cringe when that happens.
When he goes one-on-one like that?
Yeah, into a crowd.
That's a walk.
That looked like a walk, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I find that he does that though, and like it's pretty predictable. Like Matan, beginning of games, like is trying to establish the post the first couple of possessions. Doesn't always work, but I do find that it's pretty consistent.
I also love that he's taken a couple threes the last couple games, right? He's playing around with it anyway. Trying to keep him honest.
You gotta, just take away the ability.
One more. Knockdown.
Look it around.
Yep.
Oren.
Yep.
Wow.
Oh,
It's like surprising.
I got his own miss.
this one. Nice pass.
There we go.
Beautiful find.
The funny thing with a boxing 1 is that it's the easiest job is the 1. It's really hard to do. It's really hard to play a box with one guy just chasing someone around. It's like very unnatural.
Offensive.
They called it a block.
Yeah. Like the easy
See,
job.
that's the thing. If they didn't let him go middle, but the guy has to be there to take the charge.
Yep, 100%. That's wall ups that we.
Yeah.
It might have been the thing we worked on most my senior year with Elliot was walling up outside the paint early and with your hands up and ready to take that charge or contest with 2 hands up. If you're late, you're gonna get a blocking foul on an M1 like that.
Right. Easy score. Yeah. And it defeats the whole purpose of no middle. If you're not going to be there.
Exactly right.
Later on, I want to get into your take on the boxing out and defensive rebounding.
Well, I was gonna say we made box out theory into a thing on D3 Hoops Twitter, and we got mocked for it despite being absolutely 100% correct. But here I'm hearing Rid Holtzman tell us that our problem on defense is we have to keep our hands up. So I wouldn't put anything past our guys. Like, come on, that's
It's true.
yeah.
What was your box out theory? I didn't hear this.
That why you just
box
like tries to high point rebounds. They never locate their men and keep them away from the offensive glass.
It started with the IWU game last year, where it was readily apparent to anybody who was watching that game that we just purely didn't find our guys and didn't get box outs, and as a consequence gave up just an atrocious, heinous number of offensive rebounds. Not to mention
Carter, they were also like double our size, but
they were double our size. But again, there were so many plays. Shua, you did like a video breakdown. You could just see guys not finding their man to box out, and it killed us. And we were mocked for suggesting. We were mocked. We were mocked mostly by our dear friend, the Chief Rabbi of New York City, the man, the myth, the legend, Bob Coleman himself, for suggesting.
What, Coleman doesn't believe in boxing out? I don't understand. What's the?
Well, he didn't think
he
that it was
doesn't believe that the boxer was the reason why we got out rebounded or something. I don't even know.
He didn't believe that it was possible for a college team to not box out, and turned out we were right.
I can attest from firsthand experience. It's extremely possible. Extremely possible. The amount of box outs I missed in my 4 years, man. I mean, it's funny. It's changed too because back in the day, you're talking centers used to get 25 rebounds because shots were from close, which meant rebounds were close. But it's changed a lot with the three in that long shots create long rebounds, especially towards the elbows, back rims, and so it's become. It's become even.
Speaking of the devil,
yeah, it's become even more important for guards to make sure they're putting bodies on as those long rebounds come out. But it's still neglected plenty.
And the part that's the worst is that it's not even like YU is scoring a lot of fast break points. So it's not like they're leaking out and getting
right, just giving up.
Like they're not scoring on the fast break, and they're also not rebounding well.
Man, Roy is good, man, huh?
Yeah, Roy in the right lineups
does not look like a freshman out there.
I'm really feeling an Oren 3, guys. Oren's gonna hit a 3 on the next possession. I just something's telling me. I don't know, like a real strong inclination.
Yeah, see,
it's called a premonition.
Ah, there you go.
But how
that was the right wall up there.
Push.
One more beautiful pass.
Let's go.
Dang!
What a call!
What'd I say?
What a call, Simmy.
Oh my God, we have Romo out here.
Box score is ahead.
Simmy, what are the numbers?
I told you it's gonna be hectic, and YU shooting is gonna be the difference.
Look, well, I haven't accomplished too much in my life. I'm a young guy, trying to make it. But one thing I always thought I'd have is to be the best shooter in Hank history, and somehow I don't even have that anymore.
And he ran into the buzzsaw that was Ari Lamb. Oh well, no.
But Oren left Hank after junior year, right?
Yeah. We don't have to get into that. I don't know exactly what happened there, but
Oren a West Hempstead kid?
No, he's
Jamaica Queens.
Great.
YCQ alum, and not a Hank. I went to Hank, and yeah, he's just the shooting is insane. It's insane. You shoot 56% from three. That's not a thing. That's not something that people do. And it's not like he takes like wide open corner threes all the time. I mean, he takes a lot of catch and shoot mostly, but off the pump, side steps, wild.
And a lot of people thought he was just one dimensional, but he can make it happen off the dribble too.
He's definitely developed a bit off the dribble, a little mid range here and there. But like, man, if you can get him a catch and shoot three, you better find him. It's
Sim, you've said this before. Oren kind of, especially after last year, which I gotta admit, I don't think any of us, none of us really talked about it last year. He really developed into that Eitan Halpert role.
He got 0 passes in the Johns Hopkins groups. There were 0 times that the ball was passed to him during that game.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That is a crazy stat, by the way. And that was the thing that was missing from that offensive performance, just an extra shooting threat.
Is that our ball?
No. Although I'd always argue, I think if Orange is shooting 56% by the end of the year, he's not taking enough shots. He should be shooting like 43%.
I hear that. I will say, like, he doesn't have a very high release point. So it's like, whereas Zevi basically can get it off going any direction at full speed. and over a contest. Oren's not tall to begin with, and his slot is pretty low. So that is just gonna limit your attempts, for better or for worse. I mean, he's done a good job of kind of incorporating the pump fake and getting some shots off that way, but he's not gonna be a super high volume shooter because of that.
Also, the attempts may go down a little bit now with Max back. No?
Well, I hope not, because the way he's shooting it, you hope he gets as many shots as he wants. There aren't many.
I don't know. I just don't know enough. This is purely out of ignorance. Like, what is Max's role in the offense? Like, number 2 scoring option, like distributor? Like, what are we anticipating Zachheim doing in the offense?
Handling the ball.
Yeah.
And taking a little pressure off Matan in that role, because Matan has basically been their distributor. And as much as he's good at it, he's a good passer. I think you do want to get the ball out of his hands a bit more.
Especially bringing the ball down the court. There's been so many
wake up
times.
from a game hangover.
But also, he likes to score. He is a scorer.
Zachheim is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, he can give him a nice driving option, not just a shooter, which is a lot of the Max are. I know that I know Zevi mixes it up and gets to the rim pretty good, but it's very jump shot reliant. So if Zachheim can start getting to the hole a little bit, drawing some fouls, that would be helpful.
Khan is 9 points already.
By the way, Oren's been rebounding the ball great.
It's Oren gets in there.
Yes, underrated, by the way.
He just got another. He got another one on that previous possession in traffic.
And his defense.
No, he's become a much more complete player.
Yeah,
he needs to play like a lot, like 30 minutes.
But I still like Elliott bringing him off the bench.
Yeah. Start with a little more defense. I agree.
Looks like Gav is out there now.
Really like him as they're at the point of attack on defense for them. You can put, Zevi or Oren on the lesser threats and put him right on their best ball handler. I think he does a really good job. He's just a good defensive player. He's solid, and he's made shots this year. I think he's, doesn't take a lot of them, but when he's open, he's made.
Yeah,
he's shooting like 50%.
No, I was in Baltimore for the weekend, so I was at the Wiener tournament. I saw his old coach at Beth Tefillah. And he was like, guy can shoot. Give him opportunities.
Yeah, it's like a bit of a wind-up, and it takes a while. But, hey, if he's open, he should shoot it. No question.
Also has like a little bit of a rainbow technique,
He just gave up an offensive rebound on a free throw. That's good. So far, the boxing out thing has come to fruition, Quillman.
Exactly.
Another one. Jeez.
Defensive rebound again. Way downtown.
Yikes. All right. Interesting.
Benji, can you tell us, I don't know if I missed this at the beginning, like what's your current involvement with the team? I don't know if I caught that. And
Sure.
I guess start with like your post-playing days and how that role evolved. Like, were you always involved like continuously? Was there a break in there?
Sure. So I played for Coach Halbert for 3 years, and then Elliot came in my 4th year. Elliot also coached me in high school. So we were and are very, very close. He signed my Kstuva, in fact.
Now we're talking.
We're very close. And so I was starting NYU law. So my 1L year, which is, supposed to be hard and requires a lot of work, I was not involved with basketball at the team. And then my 2L year, I was asked to come and coach. So I became assistant coach for Elliot. And I did that for 2 years, including the second year, which was our first Skyline Conference win in the program's history. And then I started to work at the law firm at which I am currently employed. It's going to bite you. It's going to bite you eventually, right?
It's so bad.
And so I had to give it up, at least coaching, because I just didn't. And then I also started a family of 2 kids now. So to try to get to 5 a.m. practices and get to games in Mount St. Mary's just became very unrealistic, unfortunately. And so I had to give it up regretfully, or regrettably, I should say. I'm still involved.
How would you describe it today? Like just like kind of informal consulting and friendship with Elliot. And
exactly right. Yeah, I text Elliot after every game. We talk X's and O's. I'll send clips out, talk strategy.
That's awesome.
Players. I try to help out where I can. I've done a couple of, so when they got to the tournament, for the 2 years they were in the tournament, I did.
Matan's runner.
Tom loves that floater.
He's drilling that floater right now, and the whole pot again. That box is just leaving that space wide
I was gonna
open.
say he's feasting on this defense.
Yeah.
Did you overlap when you were coaching your two Elliot? Did you overlap at all with Gabe and Ryan?
I coached Gabe for his first half a year,
First half year.
which is
Yeah, 'cause
when
you
we
had
magical
won,
season.
which is when we won the conference.
So I'll tell you, like you watch a bad loss or two that we've had this year, and it's easy to just say, okay, well, the glory days are over. But I feel like, when you hear stories from back at the beginning of the Gabe and Ryan run, they were getting shellacked for, at some points early in that period. Elliot's talked about that. Do you is that what kind of growth do you see for, a team, and just in terms of maturity and ability from when you start to when you see them flourish?
Yeah, it almost can't be overstated how much guys grow in 4 years at a program, like especially the program that we've developed and like the way we develop the system and develop each individual. And look, Ryan was good his first year. If you would have said after Ryan's first year that he'd be playing in a G League team, you would have been laughed. You would have been laughed out of it. He was really good. We all knew he was really good, but I don't know, what did he average? 14 a game. He wasn't.
We had no idea that clip.
He weighed 150 pounds.
Yeah. So it's
Right.
it's incredible, and that's what I mean. You're watching these freshmen now on this team, and I don't buy the glory days are over. I'd argue that what they're doing so far this season is as big an accomplishment as anything that we've accomplished. To turn it over in 1 year after losing 2 All-Americans, where you're 4-1 in the conference, you're winning, you're competing with some of the best teams in the country. I know they got blown out by NYU, but otherwise against really good teams, they hung in. They've won some close games. The talent is undeniable.
That's
Wow.
what Max.
What a
did.
movie.
That's what
Wow.
Max brings.
We've never
Oh.
seen that. We don't really see that from guards on our team before.
So there you
that
go,
kind of-
right? The penetration.
That's
the
a big
finishing.
boy play. We've been waiting
Yeah.
for that.
That's awesome. This is what I mean. There's so much to be excited about here. You're talking about a bunch of freshmen who are really good. And I spoke to Elliot before the season. I was like, people think that we got Ryan and Gabe. It was 1 in a million, and you're never going to get that again. And I think you're seeing now that, no, this is a program, a sustainable program where we're getting the right guys in here. We have a international reach. Guys want to come play here. Guys are reaching out to Elliot to play. It's not like Elliot's recruiting plenty, but he doesn't have to recruit all the time because guys are asking him to come to this program. So the game has changed. This program is here to stay as long as Elliot wants to do it. This is the real deal.
We talked about this end of last season as well, but the fact that Gabe and Ryan existed makes it more likely that another Gabe and Ryan will come along, because to be a Gabe or a Ryan, you have to be you and to an extent your parents, and your Rebbeim and your teachers, they all have to be a little bit nuts and kind of accommodate your particular brand of lunacy. And to see it succeed at the kind of high and fun and inspiring level that it did over the last 2 to 4 years makes it more likely that it's going to repeat again. I think we will have a much shorter time to wait between Tamir and between between Ryan and the next Ryan than between Tamir and Ryan. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
I think that's I think that's absolutely right. And also I think Gabe and Ryan are they're both wonderful players, but there's a bit of a different level between those two guys.
Yeah.
But what's Zevi Samet in that? Zevi Samet came in and he scored 40 points twice in his first 5 games. Come on, that doesn't happen. That's a crazy talent, and to already have that after.
Oh, nuts!
That's a beautiful pass. Go finish that.
Kick it out.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt this. We're getting out rebounded 20-8 and 10-2 on the offense.
It's not what you want to see.
What the? Oh, hey guys, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Here we go.
Hey, Jack.
Oh, Rabbeinu Jack Shlita. Now we're talking.
What's up, fellas? What's up,
Jack
Mario?
Attack is back.
Jack Terrell. Whoa.
Wow, Benji Reynolds, the
What's
one
up,
and
brother?
only.
Good to see you.
Great to see you too, Red Holtzman. It's a pleasure.
Listen, man, it's my alter ego right here with the YU. I'm just Ben Riddles, all right, Benji Riddles, whatever. It's
What
just for the public facing Twitter account. You know
What
what I mean?
keyword do I have to say to unlock Red Holtzman?
No.
That's the question we're all.
By the way, legit, I've thought this for years. Red Holtzman sounds like the guy by Shaney at the youngest of West Hempstead's Hashkama minion. Like for sure, he was for sure. Maybe before we were born, but like
Specifically West Hempstead.
Red Auerbach, also classic West Hempstead name, classic. Ah,
Ben, what do the coach and staff need to do to get them to start boxing out? Like, do they need to just like have like 5 sessions in a row that's literally all rebounding? Like, how do we change this?
Yeah,
Who's the lefty?
Zach on.
Oh, Max is back. Wow.
He's back.
Okay. How's he look?
So
Good.
far, so good. Made a 3, had an and 1, made the free throw. I think he's got 6 points.
Okay.
Outside of the rebounding, we look great.
By the way, as Isaac Hollander pointed out in the chat, Dylan Hode is in the game. He's number 25 on Mount St. Vincent.
Oh.
Benji, I got a question. Maybe it's been thrown to you already, so if it's been thrown to you already, ignore it. But what was the biggest difference in your opinion? So you were 3 years with Johnny, 1 year with Elliot.
Yes, sir.
What was the biggest difference between the two experiences?
There are a lot of differences. Before I say anything about that, I just want to say that like Coach Halpert taught me an incredible amount about basketball and is an incredible coach, person, legend. He now is in my shul in New Rochelle. We speak every week. He's the best. I love him.
and just a huge bench, by the way, a huge bench.
He's just
No, he's a legendary coach.
He's
a
the best.
legendary.
He's the best.
And his sons are great coaches too. Rafi over at
Rafi's the
SAR.
Rafi's SAR is killing it right now.
Yeah,
No,
he's
he's a
great.
great
He does a
coach.
great
He
job.
beat DRS by 50 the other night.
He does a great
So
job. with us,
that's why I'm curious.
Hey,
as to
NYU'd.
what's the difference. Maybe there isn't differences. but I
No,
was-
there definitely is a difference. Look, so first from a time perspective, Elliot came in and he changed how much
What
time he
is
was.
gotten into me? It's
Is Melton perfect from the field right now?
No, he's answering the question.
It's all right.
Sorry.
No, the game comes
All right,
first,
sorry.
man. No worries.
Nothing's going off.
He's 6 for 6 with 15 points.
So they're playing this boxing one on Zevi, and if you penetrate it at all, there's absolutely no help. So he's being the beneficiary of that for sure.
So Ben-
Okay, now answer Jack's question.
So there are a few things from a time perspective. Like we started practicing every day. Under Johnny, we practiced twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 8 to 10. Under Elliot, at least before the season, it was 5 days a week to 6 days a week, from 6 in the morning to 8, whatever it was. So that's by definition a huge change in terms of how much you're practicing, how much you're gelling, how much skill work you're putting in, all that. So that's huge. Elliot Steinmetz is the best I've ever seen in anything at instilling confidence in people and a team. He's done it everywhere he's gone. He is a genius at this. He came to Hank when we hadn't won anything. We won our first championship. Then he went to North Shore. They hadn't won anything. They won their first championship. And he went to YU. They hadn't won in a long, long time. And they had never won a conference. And they won the conference within 3 years. Right? So, like, this is just what he does. Beyond any of the X's and O's, because it hasn't always been the same with the X's and O's, the motion offense is not something Elliot's always used. He didn't use it in high school. He didn't use it early in college. Like, he is a master at instilling confidence that, like, you guys are as good as anybody. You can compete with anybody. You're the best player in the conference. All the things that he told me. You're the best player in high school. You're the best player in college. He told to Simcha Halpert. He told to Gabe. He told to Ryan. Now he's telling to Zevi. Like, he makes people believe that they are the best in the conference at whatever and that they can compete at the highest level, and then they do. And it just shows you how much belief, self-confidence plays into it. And that is what he absolutely does best. So that changed. Like Johnny, Johnny was very, because we're less athletic than the average team, let's say, therefore we have to play a certain way. And Elliot came in and was like, no, we can play just like everybody else. And in fact, we'll be better than that. Right? That was a very different mindset that he brought to the table from day one. And we're going to work as hard as them. We're going to practice as much as them. And we're going to be as good as them. And to me, that's beyond anything X's and O's for sure. That was the biggest difference.
Didn't he really also like push the tempo up, the pace, like fitness level? Like we ran a lot more the first year under him.
100%. Yeah, and that goes to the previous point that I was saying, that like Johnny believed in we had to play slow in order to slow down the game because we're less athletic, and so that means no early shot clock shots. I remember my first year, like God, if I wasn't shooting, I wasn't doing anything. Like that's what I do, right? Like I'm not really good at anything else. So I came down on a fast break as a freshman. I took a 3 wide open. Nobody was near me. I missed it. I got pulled out of the game. I was like, well, if I'm not taking a 3. Then what exactly am I doing out here? I mean, obviously, I think I developed a little bit more than that, but that was always my calling card. And that was because, look, that philosophy was early shot clock is not us. It can't be us because then we're going to get out and run off the floor.
I think that's crazy. D3 athletes are not D1 athletes. I think at the D3 level, our guys are just as athletic, and we've kind of seen that.
Yeah, maybe not as athletic overall, but at certain times, maybe.
Skyline? Which Skyline team?
Not before like Ophik and Ryan.
Yeah, Shelby was athletic. Shia was athletic.
But he wasn't as athletic as the guys.
Shia was acrobatic.
Shia was as athletic as anyone in the
Could
Skyline.
Shia dunk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shia could dunk.
By the way, just really quickly, just because I saw something from the chat. Shouts to SJ Tannenbaum in the chat with us, and shouts to SJ Suits getting love on Twitter. It's a pretty exciting time for the YU Max.
SJ Tannenbaum, the legendary sideline reporter, is in this chat.
Exactly.
SJ, I want to tell you, you're a legend. You're doing an unbelievable job. I love watching what you do.
Wow, SJ.
Yes!
That was high praise.
Back to you guys in the booth.
SJ's one of my closest friends. He's one of my real good buddies. But I don't know if he understands the level, how cool it is that he got that compliment from Benji Riddles himself.
Yeah, by the way, for real. And if I can, since SJ is here, I'm putting in a plug for more breakdowns of D3 Hoops tweets in sideline segments because that was extremely enjoyable. Slash, I'm trying to get on the Max Live broadcast.
Meanwhile, it's a 1-point game, guys.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I didn't account for us getting out rebounded 24-9.
You're watching Pelicans, Shua. Watch a basketball game.
Sure, fair point.
Good move.
No, I mean, so the analytics does not favor this team, the St. Vincent team, but they're playing us pretty well.
I told you they'd be scrappy. Did I tell you?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Always are against us.
True.
Big.
Okay.
Finish. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And now we're down
Now back to
29-2. That's rough.
Man, Matan, how many points does he have? I know it wasn't. He had the previous point.
Yeah.
17.
A ton of 17.
He has 17?
Yeah.
Still in the first half.
7 of 9, right? On 7 of 9 and 3 of 4 from the line.
There's your box of 1. Play box of 1 on Matan. That was great. By the way, that steal. So I have the feed on. It's behind, but I have it. It's clear, so I can kind of see more what happened there. That was a great rotation by
Roy?
We were just complimenting his defense before.
Doton?
No.
Roy?
Goff?
Goff, thank you. Jeez, thank you.
Good.
Goff rotated and
putting
poked the
on the
ball away. Goff rotated and poked the ball away, and that's what led to the fast break layup. He's a really solid defensive player.
He rotated off the weak side?
Yep. Stole the pass coming to the roller, and off they went.
His growth year over year was maybe the thing I expected the least. Like, if last season was your first season watching the Max, you would not have expected Gav Landau to come out and be a piece.
Jack's been telling us since before this season that he's in great shape and he was excited to see Gav. He called it.
Gav's got a lot of fight in him. I love it.
See their bench. Their bench is all crazy. Yeah, this is classic Vincent. Gets really loud
It's
in that
crazy.
gym. It's like echoey. Hate it.
Why are you
St.
shooting
Vincent was the
48%?
ultimate enemy
40
before Farmingdale, right?
The enemy. The enemy.
The enemy.
Is that so? I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
No,
I would have thought it was like
hated it.
Purchase. I hated Purchase when I started following the.
Purchase like in my day was like until my senior year when we beat them twice, but like until then they were
nationally ranked at one point.
Well, they had a freaking 7-footer who was like good. It was crazy, and they had shooters around him. It was the most ridiculous thing. I was like, what the hell?
What
is
was
this?
he? Was he injured? Is that what happened? What happened in the end? Or he just couldn't? He got like 25 rebounds in certain games. I remember.
Neri? Yeah. No, I don't know what happened.
But I still think I don't think we ever made it out of the first round of the NCAA tournament outside of YU. I don't know if any of those.
No,
teams-
Skyline teams never do well in tournament. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Even the really good ones, until us, I guess, the COVID year.
The 1 year, I don't know if I would. I mean, I would count it because we went for it, but like, it doesn't change the pattern of Skyline not doing well.
Yep.
What was the technical for? I missed it.
I also missed it. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not
That's
offensive.
heavy shot.
Woo! All right, there's a shootout. Benji, Simcha, and Zevi. Who's winning? Benji.
What kind of
are your
shots?
thoughts?
Benji.
What kind of shots? What are
We're
we talking
talking
about?
3-point shootout.
Like,
Three-pointers.
like we're talking. We have the racks, and we're just standing.
So
and
the
shooting.
first one is racks. The second one, you're coming off a handoff. You're running.
Third
off
is
a curl.
scotch.
So I always made the argument that no one can beat you off the curl.
So that so I think Zevi is giving me a run for my money on that.
He's pretty
'cause
good off the
he
curl.
can run off. He can run off and shoot. Simcha was as automatic as it gets, just catch and shoot. There was nobody to me better than him as catch and shoot player. He's got in that. He had kind of a funny shot slot, but once he got it in that slot, it was absolute money. And hell, Oren Batesh is giving us all a run for our money right now. So.
The Orange looks good this year. It's 4
My
or
man.
6 points.
Yeah, but I think
Shouts to Zevi Fisher in the chat. Back in our day, he says 90 to 93, Mount St. Vincent was the enemy. So I guess there it is.
No, Vincent's been a rival for a
Yeah.
very long time. This is
I just want to say this: we're shooting 47%. They're shooting 41%. They have 11 turnovers, we have 3, and it's still close because of the rebound.
We can't rebound. This is
It's
not new
crazy.
news.
Yeah.
they're coming down and they're out physicaling us right now, as they say. They're just downhill.
So why not play Ellie Igby or someone like that? Why not play a big fella?
I think
I haven't seen
players
any
on
of
the
them.
court
I
have
hard to say.
commit to it.
Yeah.
I just think in a game like this, you should just play someone who could get a rebound. Oh, there we go.
They come.
Wow. It's almost
Back.
shocking when he misses
Get
it.
back.
Wow, that's just bad defense.
Got the wall
You
up.
can't let a
somehow.
guy go right down the middle. You got to make him change or at least cut off that pass. That's crazy. I would say Simple
Hey, what
would
do you
not
got?
be able to beat. Yeah, Simple would come in third and they're coming off the curl.
Yeah.
Even that they couldn't
Get
get
into that pocket where he shoots it. We're coming off a handoff. Let's do it.
Wait, Jack, what did you say?
It'd be hard pressed for Simple to, he has this form where he puts it in that and then he releases it. But coming off a curl, it'd be hard for him to catch and do it. Whereas Benji and Zevi are just straight up.
Right. I was about to say, I think
Sometimes
that
the
Aaron,
aspect that he's a lefty.
Lefty
So I don't know
on-
if it matters if no one's defending him.
It was so funny coaching Sim, like, because sometimes, like, especially when we needed one, like when the team was on a run, like, it really didn't matter if a guy was in his face because he puts the ball like on the wrong side of his body and he's a lefty, like you said, and so like someone would be standing right there. We need a bucket. He just shoot it anyway,
Right.
make it, and we're just like, all right, that's our offense. Like,
Shouts to Keith Hoffman
That
in the chat.
rebound was ridiculous.
Benji is way too humble. Best shooter I've ever played with. Keith
is
Hoffman.
that Dobie? The Dobie Hoffman?
Wow, Dovey. So now Benji's getting the compliments from the legends.
Oh
It's
my
getting passed on.
Uh,
Dobie Hoffman's the best shooter of all time. We forgot Dobie in this conversation, who, by the way, catch and shoot, forget it.
we
Tell
need a
Douglas-
Dovey on this team right now. A
Tell
big man
Dovey
who can
he's
shoot.
afraid to play with me and he's afraid to play against me.
Best touch with the big. Dobie said that.
No, I'm telling Dovey right now if he's listening. Let's play already. Dovey's a really good friend. We're both Valley Toro alumnus. I grew up watching Dovey when he was in high
Beat up,
school.
man.
So
The tie game.
he was like my idol. I grew up watching him at Valley Taurus. I love that. I have a relationship with now. It's very cool.
Is there a
but yeah,
guy that
Dobie's
size,
good.
Jack, with that kind of touch?
Yeah,
Like Dobie?
touch. Man. Yeah, touch.
Jack,
No,
it was
he's
still
cool.
Johnny Dan who broke the Sarachek curse.
Yeah,
All right, really-
Ryan
really-
couldn't do it.
Quick from the chat. Michael Ahilchik. Question for Benji. Shouts to Michael. with teams sagging off Matan so much, does it make sense to get Zevi or Max or Oren to come for a dribble handoff and Matan screens their guy and they shoot a 3 off the dribble?
Have you been reading my text with Elliot? Who is that?
I think we've all.
This is Celiot Einmetz. I don't know who that is.
See, that's a part of
Michael
Orange
Hilchik.
we never saw until this year. What Oranges did.
Yeah, agreed.
Exactly. We talked about that before, right? The growth of his game.
So wait, Benji, I do have a question. So you obviously you have a relationship like that with Elliot. Does he agree with you that Matan should be doing these dribble handoffs? I mean, Stockton just sagged off. I mean, he could have been doing that with Ryan then.
I can't watch this.
The answer is yes, he agrees. He likes how it looks. He's scared to like start having his guys come around the ball because they'll do it too much.
Right.
And we know like the philosophy is don't come to. There you go. You know the philosophy is
so fun
not
to
to come
watch.
around the ball.
The NBA philosophy is
Blake
both
Kodesh.
bring the action to the ball and bring the ball to the action. They have both happening at the same time all the
No,
time.
but I hear where Coach Elliott's coming from. It's probably really a good answer. It's like you don't want it to become habitual, especially when you're drilling something that's so different and unique for this team. So I do get that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think guys like, especially like I know if I was, and I did this a lot as a player, like, you know, if you're a shooter, you come around the ball a lot and try to get that kind of pitch back for a 3. And Ellie just doesn't want that to become, here we go. Speaking of coming off.
Good. We might have to put him on that list. He's got to be on
Crazy.
that list.
They're ridiculous
Oh,
shooters,
man.
bailing them out from like a totally lackadaisical rebounding effort game.
Man, we could
Bailing
shoot. I
them
think
out,
that was
or
the
are they just
problem.
awesome shooters?
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Debbie down over here.
I think that was the problem against NYU is they could shoot as well as we can, so we couldn't just outshoot them like that, like Zevi Salmon.
Well, that's what everyone was saying. They were a better
I'm
version.
watching Oren right now.
Here we go. Oren,
He's gonna pop
Rashid
out.
Allen, Clay Kodesh, make something happen.
I think I'm a little bit ahead of you guys.
So we're
Orange.
watch on the Zoom. I thought he had the kick.
Zevi Iso.
I thought he had the kick.
Boy, oh boy.
Not the half.
Okay, good end to the half, boys.
Yeah,
Good
I
end.
still would have done
okay.
Zevi Iso there.
Never mind, I'm behind you guys. I still have 20 seconds left. in
Our
the-
feed
By the
is
way,
Jack,
it is-
watch on the Zoom feed.
If you
Oh,
go
that's probably
if you go
smart.
back and if you go back and look at that last, it is I mean it's pretty amazing that this early they are so terrified of Zevi out, 5 feet past the arc. Like you had 2 guys chasing him around out there. It's pretty cool.
It's they're playing a total box and one, and you don't see that very often in college basketball. And
I think you can
tells
thank
you what
guys
it
like
is.
Bob Quillman for that. Bob has really put a highlight on. I mean, Zevi showed out against
Yeah,
IW.
shouts to Bob, by the way.
Bob
Always
ran-
shouts to Bob the legend.
First off, I think he was perfect against the States. Bob won't put the word out. Not let Zevi go unnoticed because he wants to, when we play the Titans again, for them to take him out.
It can't be
Um,
overstated, by the way, how big it is.
He's doing he does a really great stuff for D3, and he's doing a really great stuff for YU. Bob, being such a fan of Zeddy, has put the national spotlight on him, and the section teams know him. Like teams are coming ready for him, so it's not going to be so easy for him. He doesn't. Ryan at least had 5 games or to 6 games before teams were like, "Is this the guy?" He had half a season. Ryan had half a season before teams decided to guard him because they were guarding Simcha. They knew
Even in
him.
the tournament, they tried to take away Gabe that first game.
Yep. Yeah, they didn't guard him. They just guarded him once, and Zavi's getting taken away immediately. So shout out to the spotlight, shout out to Bob, but also Zavi, you're gonna have a harder track.
I can't be overstated how big it was for Zevi to have one of his best games of the season in Bob's own house. Just in terms of spreading the legend of Zevi, it was pretty good.
That's when I told Bob he lost chief rabbi status there.
That
Did
step
Benji
back
lead
in the
the
corner and then the crossover into the 33-footer. Those were just so nice.
Oh my
And then
god!
during halftime, I want to 2 things I want to ask you about. So talk a little bit about the action to the ball versus ball to the action, where like a Warriors type system, they have tons of ball screens for Steph or for ball handlers while also having tons of action happening off the ball and trying to create those 4-on-3 stuff like that, versus like YU of really stressing the bring the ball to the action. That's the first one. You can answer that one before.
Sure. Yeah. It's not my offense. Right. This is something that Elliot and I guess, the Cats and Harold Katz specifically instituted. It happened to be like when I got there, Elliot had decided this is what we're doing. And so I got on board and I taught it to the best that I could and helped kind of develop it for our guys. The theory is essentially that everybody's running ball screen offense. It's become the predominant offense in the world. And everyone's working on guarding ball screen offense predominantly. And what's kind of been left behind a bit is kind of off-ball movement, backdoors, off-ball screens, curls, fade screens, all the stuff that you see YU do all the time. And teams aren't used to guarding it. And I do think we've always had good passers, especially in the big spots, which help this offense kind of really go and thrive because they can hit the shooters coming off curls or going into fade screens and fading out to the 3-point line. Then we've had great shooters that can take advantage of it. And I don't think we've had the kind of the classic pick and roll ball handler. If you think about the talent that we've had, I mean, obviously Ryan could run a really good pick and roll, and I haven't seen Zach Heim enough to know, but I think he can too. I think even Zevi can, but it's not like you want to run the offense around or revolve the offense around anybody who's going to be running a dozen pick and rolls a game or 24 pick and rolls a game. Like, it's not really our skill set. And so I think all those things kind of combined is why Elliot decided to kind of institute the system. I think he's had a lot of success. I think overall, I think it's worked really well. When we were doing it together, I talked to him about maybe varying and adding some ball screens. He definitely does end a shot clock. He'll allow a ball screen, but that's basically it. And I think occasionally now, if a guy's been given a ton of space, like with Matan or sometimes Donnie Katz would be given a lot of space, so they'd run that quick handoff action and kind of utilize that space to their advantage. But that is the philosophy. I think it's been, I guess the success speaks for itself to some extent, right?
No, that's a good answer. And then the other thing I wanted to ask is like the Spurs, and it's pretty common in the NBA, is like the 0.5 philosophy of making a pass shoot drive decision within 0.5 seconds again the ball versus like the YU 2-second hold. I want to hear your thoughts on those two, where like you can potentially give up an advantage that you work to create off ball with sometimes those pauses, but there's also the benefit of seeing the floor, stuff like that.
The 2-second hold, from what I remember, is more in terms of the screen, not in terms of catching the ball. Is that something that you've heard, like in practice
on
or something?
Slapping glass, he said they stress usually not on like ball reversals, but like in general, like when a guy gets in the post or just a general guideline that when unless he's swinging it, when a guy gets the ball, there's a 2-second like read the action.
Oh, interesting. I honestly don't remember that. And I don't remember preaching that, but I understand the advantage in certain scenarios if you're first kind of initiating an action and kind of seeing what develops. I definitely think though, if you're catching off, right, as you said, if you're catching off a swing where the defense is bent already, I don't think anybody is asking guys not to attack it immediately. I think the philosophy is that anytime you're attacking a bent defense, do it as quickly as you can, whether with a pass, a shot, or a dribble, and make the next play.
Can I say something in previous to comment on something Shua said, kind of in defense about your comment about doing what the Warriors do, where they have off ball and on ball. The Warriors starting five has three of perhaps the smartest players to ever touch a basketball in Draymond, Steph, and Clay. And then high pedigree NBA players in Wiggins and Looney. Looney went to UCLA. There's a reason that they're the only team that runs a lot of what they do. They have the personnel and the really high intelligence. I think we'd be hard pressed to try to mimic. I understand why Elliot does a variation of that and keeps it more simple by just, trying to avoid the on ball. But I do understand the criticism when you have years where you have 5 pros in your starting 5 and you're not going to do everything you can to unleash one of them or unleash them. So that's just as a retort.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't saying they could run an offense like the Warriors. I mean, the Spurs were actually really the guys after they lost to the Heat in 12-13. They kind of instituted that real like the 0.5 philosophy and also the on-ball and off-ball screening, which kind of destroyed the Heat hedging defense. That's when they annihilated them in the finals. But there are a lot. I mean, outside of heliocentrism, there are a lot of teams that run a combination of emotion with ball screen. I don't know if there's any team in the league that doesn't run ball screen.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It is crazy. Ryan was telling me this the other day. He was just reminiscing, and he's like, "Do you realize we had 5 pros on the team? That 2016 team that they had 5 pros." You know, because I count Gabe as a pro because Gabe could have easily played in Israel. It's not even a question. And then in addition to the 5 pros, you had a guy who had been Skyline first team in Baraloof because he was a Skyline first teamer formerly in his career. And then in addition to that, those 6, you had Caleb and Donnie, who are really good rotational pieces. That was a really good team. That was a really good team. Hard to compare any team to that 2020 team.
Yeah, the 1920. Yeah. I think we live in the past a little bit when we think about that tournament.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go to Logon Dole with my dad. I'm in LA. I'm honored. I think I've made it. I've been on a feed with Rit Holtzman, so I'm so excited.
I don't think it's gonna get any better than that.
Jack, I want you to have higher aspirations, Jack. Higher aspirations than that, brother. You can do big things, all right?
By the way, I remember back before Jack was an official member of the Ball Habatim, we were just like, we would listen to Jack come on and like be the guest color person for the Max broadcast and be like, if we can't get this guy to be in the Ball Habatim, we should just all quit. Like, that's it. Like,
when Ryan scored 51, that was amazing.
Yeah, what a legend.
I told him before the game, I said, Ryan, I'm doing the broadcast. You better have a good game.
You said that on the broadcast.
You said that. I in the highlights. You said that during, yeah.
But that's a real thing that happened. I was like, I grabbed him. I was like, do you remember when I used to give you this knuckle sandwich? I'll give you 2 of these. You don't make me look good. That's what I said to him. I was like, I'll give you 1 of these. But now he's bigger than me, so he whoops my tuchus. He beats me up. That's the biggest guys. For guys with little brothers out there,
Jag
beat up every day. Don't do it anymore. Because they might grow bigger than you. And now they beat you up. My brother beats the living hell out of me every time he sees me. My son got scared one time. We had to like show him that it was okay.
Jack,
well, we have some time.
Jack, was this the call?
What's the call?
Was this the call? The all-time record.
Yeah.
That was
Something
it.
like
Yeah.
that.
I was very excited. I was pumped.
Oh, boy.
You had a few great one-liners.
He had so many in that game. We have to find it. I compiled the list somewhere. The Space Jam Planet.
But yes, Space
That
Jam.
one, yeah. Space Jam was just come out, and I knew
Adi
nobody would
one.
get more
He
on
called it Adi Iguodala. The Jewish Kevin Durant. He had so many like
Hakeem, the Dream Terrell.
He has this footwork.
You so anticipated our whole aesthetic.
Max Live will ask Jack to go on the air when Zebi hits 52.
No, I'm gonna do a game this season. I don't know which one. I got to follow up with the guy.
Oh my God, the conspiracy is real. I love it. By the way, shouts to Jay Zickerman in the chat. You guys may have shouted already, but of note, only 4 turnovers in the first half. So much better than the last 2 games. This is true. Cutting down. I mean, listen, we've traded turnovers for rebounds, but
yeah, the rebounds.
But shouts to Jay.
My analysis didn't take the rebounding into account, so I missed that whole part of the equation.
By the way, Rit Holtzman.
It's because you're watching
we'll be right
Pelicans, Shua.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, the Pelicans.
All right. Well,
Although,
what is this
to be fair,
Pelicans thing?
I've
I asked
been
you guys
the biggest box out theory proponent out of anybody.
What is the Pelicans thing in Saudi Arabia? You got to give me that background. This is like 3 times you guys have said this, and you got to let everyone in on what you're talking about.
So when coaches watch basketball, they're watching basketball. And then when mathematicians and fanboys watch basketball, they're watching the migration patterns of
No, but it's
Pelicans
it's a quote from a
in
very
1571. A quote from one of the greatest coaches of all time.
He's the Godfather. He's the Godfather of the motion. But it's a good point. I find it interesting. I'm just teasing Shua about it. I'm just poking good fun. We're having fun, but it is a really good point that Harold had made, that a lot of times you have mom and pop watching the game. They go to their son after the game, like, you should have been doing this, you should have been doing that. And it oftentimes can ruin the chemistry. Like, think about the team last year. I'm not going to name names, but I am telling you, and you guys know off the record, that there were a few guys who at certain points in the season thought big of their britches. And I can promise that was from people watching not a basketball game, and from the coach's perspective. They watched it from a fan perspective. Like, if there were the player A's biggest friend or player B, you need to do this more. You should do this more. That player C shouldn't be doing that. And, you know, it just, I think the point is to make, it's like, listen to the coaches. Everything else is watching Pelicans from Saudi Arabia. It's a joke, but it's a good point. Like, and I used to say that in theater. Right? When I was do a show, the director would, after every night, you know, everyone's uncle and aunt has a note for the actor. Just stick to what the director has said. Stick to what you guys have been doing, and you know.
No, it's absolutely a fair point, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I don't know, but I think Simi can attest to this. In the last 15 years, across all of professional sports, we've seen a lot of mathematician nerds who don't know the game at all come in with their newfangled theories that went against old school wisdom, and were total pushback at the beginning. And now it's just, it dominates every single professional sports league, because you're not going to be competitive if you don't follow that. And that is a reality. There's no sport that hasn't happened. So to have that attitude that, like, oh, I'm a coach, I've been watching for 40 years, you're a mathematician, you don't know anything, that didn't work in any of the professional sports leagues. So, like, I don't think it's a great mentality.
By the way, speaking of, just because we alluded to it earlier in the conversation, we said we were going to come back to it, but we didn't end up coming back to it. Shua, just because it touches on this conversation, you and we've been talking in the Ball Habatim group as a whole about, like, what can a combo of eye tests and stats tell us about the optimal lineups to play Roy? Right, early on, we love the energy, sideshow Roy, my man, pots and pans. But we've seen, you know, he's a situational player. What are the right lineups to play? What are the right lineups to play Roy in?
First of all, I'm going to say, like, I'm mostly talking from, like, a statistics perspective.
Yeah.
Because he looks really good to me.
And
like a lot of what he does.
Early fan favorite amongst the Ball Habatim.
The on-off data does not love him. So, like, when seeing that, it's kind of like you want to take a second look, because that doesn't really make sense, because he looks really good. There are some people who the on-off data hates, and I can understand why. But Roy, it didn't really make sense. So I was looking deeper into, like, what combos he played with and when he was positive, and there are certain players that I think complement his skill set much better and allow his skill set to, like, be an overall net positive. I think Roy does a lot of dirty work. He makes some great passes. He also makes some ill-advised live ball turnovers, which leads to easy transition baskets. And he can play, like, the high post position and take that, like, mid-range and even stretch the floor. So I think when you combine him with, like, a lot of shooters who could spread the floor around him, and then a big like Dotan, Zevi, Oren, Roy, and Matan, something like that maximizes his strengths. And, like, when I looked at specifically those lineups, he looked a lot better in terms of the team's rating when he was on the court.
Game's back.
Yeah.
Did Dotan have foul trouble in the first half? Is that why he didn't play much? I didn't see much of him.
He probably
Normally
Elliot
takes
has a
more
hard
backseat in the
foul
second half.
rule, right?
No, he didn't have foul trouble, just one foul, but he only played 9 minutes. You're right.
Oh, interesting.
Benji, I wanted to ask you during halftime, but I'll ask you now while the game's on. Like, your Knicks Twitter stuff. How did that start and grow? You're a serious presence there. It's fun to watch. Like, how did that happen?
By the way, it took me like a good couple months to figure out it was the same Benji Ritholtz. So I'm like,
All right, there's no picture, just Rid Holtzman.
There is a picture. What do you mean? It's my namesake. How did it start? It started during COVID. That season, that surprising season a couple of years ago when the Knicks made the playoffs and were the 4 seed, had a home court advantage in the first round. So it was like this time of year of that year. So really, like exactly 2 years ago. I found that I was home. We all
Julius
were home.
Randle was the future.
Well, yeah. Yeah. How it started is I was home. I felt like I was working, but I was working as hard, but I had, there's no commute, and I was like going a little nuts with like, I think as we all kind of were, just like with, so it was like a bit of an escape, I think, for me to like start doing it. Also, I just missed basketball immensely. As I had coached for a couple of years, I was just a couple of years out from coaching. As being a lawyer isn't quite as fun as coaching, let's put it that way. And so it was like, yeah, it kind of scratched the itch for me again of like kind of getting into the film, which is what I really love to do. And even though it wasn't directly leading to any wins and losses, obviously, it was still a lot of fun. And yeah, I guess, after I started doing it for a bit, the Strickland, which is like a blog, reached out to me like, "You want to write for us and do stuff with us?" I'm like, "Sure." And then as I did it with them, Knicks Film School reached out, the great guys over there with John Macri and the rest of the crew I love. They've become good friends, reached out, and that's kind of where I'm at now. So it's been a lot of fun. Never expected it to be what it is, but as long as I enjoy it, I'll keep doing it. So it's been cool.
Do you formally do stuff with those people, or is it all just your own account, kind of self, like your own analysis that you just tweet?
No, Knicks. So I'll put out stuff on the Knicks Film School feed, and I do a once a month podcast with Macri now. Big shot.
So good. By the way, was that Dotan who hit the 3 on the other end?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Good times, baby.
I said it's coming. I've seen.
I love it. My man.
Dotan 3 and then a block.
I'm a little surprised with the rebounding issues they had that he didn't play more. I know they had it even when he was in there, but just from the size perspective, he's nice to have.
Yeah, Dotan is Dotan's the kind of piece that you don't even worry if he's had a little bit of a slow start. He's just a pro. He looks so good. You could see him. He's going to fit really nicely into this offense, and hopefully he'll become a good part of the defense.
He's gonna be really good, and he's grown already.
Oh,
good pass. One more.
Oh, there we go.
It's the wrong pass.
Now, yeah.
Beautiful.
Great
Drive to close. Foul.
Oh, that was
all right.
I really like how how he drives on closeouts, which is not.
That extra pass by Dolphin was also beautiful.
Fantastic. It was a really nice possession. They moved the ball beautifully.
Yeah, Max is a little too ready to do something there, but I like that energy.
I really like how he attacks closeouts, though. He has like a straight drive, like straight line drive presence that they're kind of missing. He just goes right to the rim, makes the next pass.
I like the idea of getting the ball to Zevi whenever the shot clock is winding down.
Let's go. What do you think the rebound number is right now? So, throw out a number.
I don't.
Oh my.
30 to 16.
39 to 17.
Heyo.
How many of those are offensive? Because they have a lot of offensive rebounds too.
Yeah, it's 18 to 3 on the offensive rebound.
I did text Elliot the other day, and I was like, Elliot, like, when do we get a 6'8" guy? Like, we've recruited it so nicely. We've gotten so many great shooters and guards, but like, can we get the 6'8" dude?
What should
That's what I've been saying
to make happen? Like, what can we do?
Like,
Debbie Savage on the team.
Right?
Why you connects? Let's get somebody on this. Come on.
Especially not to look ahead.
Made an
but
effort as a team to box out. You don't need a 6. Yeah, there will be some teams they'll have difficulty rebounding against, but you don't need a 6'8" guy to be even with
no.
This
you
team.
don't need a 6'8" guy to not be down 39 to 17, but you do need a 6'8" guy to be like a really good rebounding team.
Right. Or a game.
Hey, look at this kid.
Max is going off. Or
Right.
Gabe, who everything that touches his hand
There's
automatically.
another 3
Yeah, I
coming.
think
I don't know by who.
Nah, he's arrived.
He just had undersized.
By the way,
centers.
that was a great screen by Roy too. It was a big boy screen. He just stopped some guy in his tracks on that last play.
Great call there. Yep. Good
It
rebound.
might be
Matt.
Max again. Does
Yeah,
Max hit
good
the
rebound.
next 3 also?
Look at Matt.
He's
Look
got
at
speed, man. He's got
He's
speed.
gonna get back to him.
Oh,
He
hey,
goes,
yo.
hit this. Let's go.
Told you guys.
He makes
Zach
a
time.
real difference this
Zach
offense.
time, baby.
So I remember his
This is
shot
dangerous.
being a question in high school, and I texted Elliot. I'm like, "Can I expect him to make shots?" He's like, "Absolutely. It's come a long way." There you go, 2 in a row.
Yeah, but is Zucker a senior?
Sounds
So
right.
he's gone after this.
But he
year.
has an extra. I mean, depends what he wants to. I assume he has an extra.
Yeah,
year to-
if he-
And he's not
he-
even the 6'8"
he
guy
has the
that
COVID option.
we're all dreaming about. But just like, where would we even be within rebounding on him if we don't replace that kind of body with at least one guy like that? Like, we're just gonna have more of the same like going forward.
Do we see any? Do we like? How do we see?
They're up 17 guys, by the way.
Yeah, just like
The
that.
shooting is just nuts.
Well, the scoreboard has us 99-38.
2 shouts from the chat, by the way. First of all, shouts to Alec Quate. Really enjoying this broadcast. If there are more opponents that do not have home announcers, please do this again. Much obliged, sir. And number 2, Isaac Hollander is Igby, that 6'8" guy. Where do we see some of those like newer pieces that are in, like Igby is such an interesting piece because he's just such an unusual build. He's got size. Do we see that? How do we see that developing? I don't know if anyone saw him in high school.
Yeah,
It either does or it doesn't, right?
I saw him at Sarachek with Eula.
Yeah.
I don't think he even started for them.
There's also Sultan. I don't know if he was mentioned.
Joe Sultan and Megan David, yeah.
Sultan.
One of the
They've got
coaches
tall
did
guys,
say
but-
that potential upside if he really develops is
Great
right-
steal.
right
Go
fist.
finish.
Hey,
I
Attaboy.
play Matan.
Big boy.
Matan's going to drop 30 in this game. What's he got?
19.
He only has 2 this time.
On 8 of 11.
He's not going to drop 30. Ooh, they switched that ball screen. You guys saw that? I haven't seen them do much of that. I kind of like it.
Last time they did that was against like Manhattanville in the finals.
I kind of like it. Matan's versatile. Let him be versatile.
Oh,
Look at
what a
this.
pass.
Oh, ow. Don't be an ankle. No, he just fell. Okay. Right?
Matan also has 9
Oh,
rebounds.
Debbie hurt. Oh no.
Matan has 9 of the 19 rebounds,
Just
whatever.
loaded that up, he's fine.
Yeah.
What? Oh no. Please don't be hurt.
Probably just a precaution.
Who got hurt? Was that Max?
Debbie fell and went to the bench.
I'm seeing it
Zebi?
now. Yeah, he stepped on a guy's foot. That's what it looked like when I watched it. He stepped on a guy's foot when he was getting that 2-step down for a layup, which happens a lot.
Roy really wanted to throw that down.
How did it?
I like to get some Knack in action. I feel like he's deserving of more minutes.
I agree.
I feel like Elliott's settled on Landau here as the kind of the guard off the bench. I know Natkin's a little bit more of like a forward-ish.
Yeah, Gov's more defensive. Natkin's a little bit more aggressive.
Adi, I think with Zach on his return is really going to have a limited role now.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. It seems
Yeah.
like-
and he's a captain, so I wonder how he responds to that.
From everything I know of him, I think he's going to do great, and when he gets the opportunity, he'll take advantage of it. But yeah, I don't know what the role is. And I mean, Landau fouled right there, but I really like him as a perimeter defender and a guy who can make a spot up 3. And Adi has a lot of strengths, but shooting is not one of them, right?
Goff fouls a lot though. It's not
Every
the
now
first
and then
game.
he'll hit you the open J.
He switched that ball screen
He's
too.
shooting like 20%
Yeah, that's tough.
with
See that?
like a lot of turnovers.
That's where Oren's size is tough. I mean, he just got good.
Like
Yeah,
what
that's
was
a problem.
that? What was that?
he's I just got such a visual of people like waving at the bench when they screw up. That's great.
That was Oren in the corner, right?
He was looking for Oren, yeah.
How do they even leave Oren that open?
Because they're playing
I-
a box of one. Oh, actually, no. Actually, he's out of the game, so I don't know what they're playing now. Uh-oh.
Who's that?
Is that also Oren? Is that Oren?
SC not top 10 right there.
One's not moving.
Oh no. Who's that?
I think it's Oren.
Yeah, it's over.
We just lost Zevi and Oren in 2 minutes of a 20-point game.
He just got
Went
hurt
out
by his
later.
own teammate there.
Yeah, him and Matan were fighting for it.
Elliot's getting involved.
Oh, he's bleeding? What's going on there?
Maybe it's just the nose.
I'm about to see it. Oh, he got elbowed by Matan. Elbowed right in the face.
Wait, what are you looking at?
I have the game on my laptop next to it, which is behind, but I'm able to see actually what happened because it's a little clearer on the feed. So yeah, he got elbowed right in the
Yeah, there's
face by
definitely
Matan.
blood.
And I
Benji, it always seemed to me when I was in the booth and you were on the court, it always seemed to me that Elliot would take a player out after a turnover, and it seems like he's doing less of that now. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting. When I was playing and Shai would have a dumb turnover, you get pulled occasionally. That's for sure true. I don't actually Elliot actually likes to get guys out. So there are definitely times where a guy struggles early, and until he makes a shot, Elliot won't pull him if he's a shooter, which I always liked as a shooter. Like, let me make one before you take me out. But I guess it depends on the player and the type of turnover we're talking about.
Right.
But there are certain guys that kind of need that message where it's like, I just need you to focus and stop being careless with the basketball. Certain guys, you kind of know that they'll take it upon themselves where it's like, all right, I'm in it. I'm all right. And you just kind of know the player and you know what kind of message you need to send. That's coaching, right? I mean, that's what's fun about it is every player is different. How you handle their playing time is different. The kind of messages that you send are different. Alpi Darko, you know?
Looks like Zevi's back out there.
Got to have one of the big shooters out there.
Right.
They're not. They don't look like they're playing the box one anymore. Maybe they are.
I think they are, but it's also what they call
They're
a
not.
Mickey
They're
Mouse.
not extending as far.
It's a
out.
Mickey. It's a Mickey Mouse defense. I'm not sure they know what they're doing, but they're running around.
They got Matan to take a 3, so I guess it was.
Was that was end of shot dog, I assume?
Yeah, I hope.
Let's see.
Oh, wow. I thought
We got a
Royce
3
touched it.
coming.
Oh, we're back up to 99. 99-10. Wow.
They were not in a box of one. They were in a 3-2 there, as I'm watching on the other screen here.
I think Zevi's going to hit a 3.
Oh, the old Farmingdale defense.
They were just in a 3-2. One more.
I'll get it to Zevi.
He'll hit it. I shouldn't ruin
He's
it.
so
anyway.
open. He wants it.
There it is.
He's absolutely gonna hit this.
That's what you get, man, when you play 3-2 and you get out of the box of one. Is your shooter's going to be on the weak side.
This is what
You're a
Benji,
shooter.
we need you on every one of these.
When you're a shooter and a team goes zone and you're on that weak side, you're just waiting, man, because it's coming. The ball's going to get to you. You hit the high post, you hit the short corner, and then that opposite wing is always open.
Look at that
Rebound
rebound.
there.
Look at that rebound. Push.
Matan's been a beast.
Go, Matan. Take it all the way, Matan.
You. Good pass.
Ooh, nice. Beautiful. Good.
Hey.
Great extra. That was beautiful.
Basketball. Basketball. Yeah, that's right. Off we go.
Let's go.
Put it away.
What
They're
a
really
find.
running it up now.
What a find.
Zevi doesn't get enough credit for his court vision.
Savvy's
He's
made
got some dribble
beautiful
game. He really does, yeah.
It's
was-
just
Matan's having one of the best games he's ever had.
That was a beautiful play. That the one before where Zevi threw a left-handed skip to the corner, and then drove
Roy.
and hit Matan on the cubs. Beautiful play. And then and Zevi with another beautiful pass in transition there.
Matan is hitting his free throws.
Game changer, by the way.
Matan is 23, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals.
It's quite a line.
Yeah. The rest of the team has 8 rebounds between them. Matan holding down the fort. I mean, they're up by so much. I shouldn't be complaining.
And they're not really, I mean, the game's kind of in the bag, and they're not really restricting Max at all.
Tough shot.
Well, he's only played 13 minutes.
Right, but still play him at this stage in the game, you know. Has Dylan Hode scored it all for the Mount?
I think he hit like a few free throws. Wow, that was so open.
It's some really
25.
bad defense, man.
That's what Benji's been talking about all game.
He might get 30.
Hey, man, what does Zevi have in this game? He has like, what, 10 points?
Zevi's
13.
5 of 10 for 13 points.
13
2
points?
steals,
Who-
1 rebound.
And yet, who's been the most important offensive player? Because
Yeah, because the
no,
box
not
of one.
Matan. No, Matan's been
Oh,
great.
you're saying
No,
drawing
I'm saying
the, drawing
Zevi
the
because the
coverage.
box of one.
That-
Matan
it's-
has
you
all
force
points.
if you force a team into a box and one, you're doing more work than anybody's done. Also, like if your
Right.
team comes out in a box and one, what you just did for the other 4 guys, can't even be. It can't even be like it can't be overstated. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're playing a box. It's just so easy. Matan's had layup after layup after layup. He's hit some tough ones,
Yeah.
but I mean,
the floater falling is a big development.
for
You
sure.
need to be able to hit that not at the rim in the paint shot.
Agreed.
But yeah, no, Zevi's far more. If Matan wasn't here, we'd score more than if Zevi wasn't playing. I assume.
And he still has 13, Zevi. He still took 5 threes, hit 3 of them.
He's actually got an amazing motor. I think sometimes it takes its toll on his defense, but he really, really runs back and forth several times in one possession. And that's really tiring. You'll see
You
it
used to do
occasionally
that,
spill
right?
over.
Elliot used to run Kyle Korver plays for you.
Yeah, I definitely ran my share as well, but I didn't play in this offense, which requires more off-ball movement than anything I did. So I did run a lot to get open because that's how I got shots, but I wouldn't say I did anything like this.
I remember Elliot said on podcast one time that he used to just go find clips of like Warriors plays or of like Cleveland plays Korver and just run them for you.
The story is that I read it was a Zach Lowe 10 Things column, if you guys are familiar.
I love that.
Yeah. So
10 things I like, yeah.
So one of the things he highlighted were 2 plays that the Hawks were running for Korver the year they won 60 games with Jeff Teague.
When Cleveland destroyed
Korver
them in the
yes, and swept
yeah.
Korver, Teague, Horford, and Millsap, they all made the All-Star team that year.
Oh yeah.
And they ran 2 plays for him, and I'm like, Elliot, these are awesome plays. Let's run them, and we did. And they worked.
What plays were they?
They were basically plays where you throw it to one elbow and the shooter would be on the opposite side and the shooter would back screen for whoever passed to the elbow, the shooter would back screen for him and then come around on a handoff. Or alternatively, he'd loop back around. There'd be another screen for him at the other elbow. They're kind of variations off of it. Good drive, Zevi.
His legs aren't on.
So yeah, we used to do things like that. I would just like throw things at him.
Do that.
We're what, 24. All right, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Could already start to shift the focus to Old Westbury, who I don't think have won yet this year. But they actually, of all the Skyline teams, they actually took NYU the closest.
It's weird how that happens.
Yeah. And they played Division One. They played Division One St. Peter's before that.
Did you see that D3 guy who dunked on
D7.
Bryant?
Sick.
That was unreal.
We're not quite
Sorry
there
for
yet.
interrupting you, Warren.
We'll get to the point where when I coach with Elliot, I'd start like punching him and being like, "Put in the subs, put in the subs." But Elliot never does.
Why do you think
Well, I
that
think it's a
is?
matter. I thought he always did it because I always thought he wanted to respect his opponents.
No, he doesn't do it. He doesn't, but he waits a very long time to
Right.
put the subs in.
And so like
Oh, you're
each
saying that's respect? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Right.
No,
team got injured last year
No.
when they were over 40.
no, that's just being a nervous coach and never thinking it's over. That's all that is.
Is that really what it is?
100%.
We were hypothesizing that it had to do with like developing more rhythm and motion offense.
Maybe at this time of year. I don't know. I'm sure if I was in his seat, I'd do the same thing. I think it's harder. All you're thinking about is just making sure you win the game. But
It is a good chance to bring guys in who like.
it is
Like you were
something we would.
talking-
It is something we would like. We joke about on the bench, but he's not going to put him in for a bit. It's going to take a while.
Well, this year as opposed to like previous years, I think the end of the bench guys usually can play with the other team's end of the bench guys. The last few years hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Honestly, I haven't seen the guys play enough to know. I wish I haven't been. Oh, look at that move. Ooh!
Block.
Was that Zachheim?
Was his the only reason I don't know if it was Zachman is because he went right. But
Yeah, it was Max. It was Max.
It was
It was
faster than anybody else on the team. So I think it was.
yeah,
Zachheim.
that's true. Fair enough.
All right, welcome to college. Sir.
Welcome to Skyline. Welcome to Skyline.
Everybody has that moment, man.
This isn't the Northeast Conference anymore.
That was a beautiful finish.
Shout out to Bob Quillman in the chat.
Oh, Bob's here.
It was a really
Bob,
good
Bob,
move.
how's the box out theory doing?
Bob Quillman, the legend.
Cast.
I do wonder if with
One
Max,
more.
if Max in the fold, if they'll run some screen action with him. I don't think so, but I do wonder because he might be worth it.
I feel like Doton really crowded him over there.
100%. Poor spacing. Cut right into the post, which is something Elliot always yells at people for.
Yeah, 15, 17 feet. What if you're cutting, you want to be behind Matan, like on his backside, so that like if the defender's coming to double, then you're open.
You don't want to cut towards him at all if he has the ball.
But like if Gabe was posting up, like there were a lot of backdoor cuts behind him that
But don't overlap. Meaning if it's not there, then space back out to the opposite corner.
got yeah, right.
It's good you flash. Flashing is you want to
Don't
flash.
come in front of him.
If
Come
you get
behind
that
him.
right, but he brought a defender. He brought a second defender to the action, which is there's no reason to do that.
Gotcha. Was that another technical?
I don't know. Must have been. Good to see Oren back, so he's okay.
Yeah, Zevi or okay. This scares. Max.
I was going to say
looks like
Natan,
freaking-
our buddy Natan Cohen is at the game. He said Oren was getting tended to. It didn't seem like a huge deal. And he's back now, so that's great.
Yeah, it seemed very, very minor.
Just took a Matan elbow to the face. Champion. They're straight up switching ball screens right now with Matan, and I really like that. I think that's great. Change it up. Challenge Matan to do something different. I really like it. It would be matchup dependent, I think, though. I don't know if Vincent has a big that could punish any of our guards.
Good pass by Adi.
Yes, sir.
Matan's up to 28 after he gets the free throw.
I said that he's going to get 30. Look at this. It's got to be well over.
Elliot's not going to take him off until he hits 30. He did the same thing with Zevi hitting 40 against St. Joe's Brooklyn.
Yeah, who's on the floor with Matan? It's Matan and some subs, right? I can't really see.
No,
Adi's there.
Adi is the only.
Matan, Zevi, Dotan, Oren, and Adi.
Oh, Zevi and Oren are both on? Okay. So at what point do we start to see it's 24 with 8 minutes left.
If we're up by more than 30 with less than
That was a terrific. That was a 45 cut by Matan. I mean, he came from the wing, which is always a good cut because the weak side is always looking at the ball, and just cut from the wing right into the middle.
I just popped back in. I'm so sorry. But did you guys see Bob in the chat?
Yeah, he said we're not boxing out.
Shouts to Bob in the chat. You're still not boxing out.
That's such a funky looking shot, that 3.
That was a wild looking shot. It was like a heave. It was like you're shooting a half court shot from 3.
I think this is going to ruin Mount St. Vincent's pool C chances.
Ooh, look
I've
at
been
that.
told the tech earlier was for flopping.
Oh, I love that. Love the flopping
Here's a
tech.
crossover into deep 3.
One more.
Great passing. He walked, didn't he?
It
Did
looked
call
like
it?
he walked.
I thought he walked.
They
All right,
fouled
you got away with it.
Matan. Matan's trying to get his 30.
Matan deserves his 30.
Yeah, I agree.
Get him that 30 spot.
If he hits both his free throws,
How many did he have before the free throws?
28.
No, so he hits 1.
Well, he's gotten better at the line the last few games.
He's 7 for 10 tonight.
He worked on that over the summer. I'm told. Like really worked on that. There we go.
He did get pushed.
14 rebounds also.
We're talking about a 30 and 14. Like, and how many assists?
4.
Yeah, he's got. This is Giannis. This is a Giannis line.
Roy actually has 6.
Oh boy.
And
Oh
2
boy.
steals.
So too soon.
Matan.
You know, it's jinx.
He's gonna get it.
Nah, he will.
He got
So
7
Allie's not
Matan.
taking him at it until he does.
Feed Matan. Give the people what they want.
ISO Matan.
We're not there to
That's
chant.
so Matan.
No, you want Matan to break it with a 3 because he can hit 3s apparently.
Scream for Matan. No, Zevi. Come on.
Zevi's gonna hit this.
Boo.
You can't boo Zevi hitting.
Guys, Zevi's got some
Exactly.
hardware to win also.
That was cash. Beautiful move.
Rashid Allen, relax.
Your nicknames are unbelievable.
we've been working on the Zevi
You
nicknames.
know,
chat.
I like that effort by Dotan to get to box out. He threw his man like 20 feet out of bounds. You'll see it on the replay, Ben.
What did you just say? Sorry, I was still reeling from Rashid Allen. What did you say?
Rashid Allen, is that in the top 5 Zevi nicknames? I mean, probably.
Osher
We've got
Curry, Rashid Allen. There have been some good ones. Oh, what was
the
it?
Wolf of Ball Street.
The Wolf of Ball Street because of
That
Zevi.
was good. I didn't get the Wolf Blitzer reference. Like, what did that have? Was it
Someone just texted that to me. It was just nothing, just Zev Wolf. That's all it was.
21 jump shot because he's 21.
Noren and Zevi are the Jewish Splash Brothers.
Yes, Kosher Curry and Klea Kodesh. But
Ari, we missed you.
Ball
And we had
Habatim
Zevi
chat
on.
is undefeated.
You were supposed to drop all these at once.
This
when
is
we
what I
came
came
on.
here for. This is unreal.
Why you
Whoa, what happened
What
there?
was that?
why you with a
blocked?
couple losses but Ball Habatim undefeated?
Sure, what were you saying? Sorry, I was.
No, I was Dotan got a foul call trying to get a rebound. He threw his guy like 20 feet out of bounds.
Oh, I
He's
love
supposed to
that for
box
him.
him out. So I was joking that was the most effort we saw on a rebound.
We whipped out all the nicknames in time for Bob to hear him in the chat.
How many?
Shouts to Bob, Chief Rabbi of New York.
Bob will tweet them all out, and then someone will give like a detailed translation and explanation for everything.
It's just like total fodder for the Max.
Ah,
Live.
that's a roll. That's
So
a
fun.
roll, Adi.
Here we go.
Oh, he's got it.
Okay.
Nah,
Okay.
Ah,
no legs.
Yeah.
That should have been a layup for Adi. He said a curl screen for Oren, and then the roll was
And
both
then
guys went
stopped.
to it. Yep, and then stopped.
Interesting. Yeah.
Where's Matan? What the heck?
I think Adi ran in, raised his hand, and then wasn't even looking at the ball.
It is watching the stream on my phone. It's like getting the instant replay.
Yeah, so it's been great.
Is that what happened? Did Adi run in with his hand up?
We do. I'm about to see. I haven't gotten there yet.
Shouts to Gary Feder in the chat, Bob. Bob, you should start posting rebounding cue lines on Twitter before each
It's a
YU.
flop.
Gary Feder, that's my fantasy football commissioner. What's he doing at this?
Yeah, are we
hour?
gonna get
That's the
another? Are we
commish.
gonna get another Oren free throw? Give
That
it.
should've-
Let
that was a
Matan
flop.
go to the line. Let Matan.
Yeah, no, let Mata go to the line. Guys,
no,
guys,
Matan
guys.
needs to go take this free throw.
Oh no,
This is a huge missed opportunity.
it's his. I gotta say, I love the. I know it has gotten. We've been on the wrong side of the call a couple times, but getting that like ridiculous flop out of the game on every time a guy dribbles, a power dribbles, I think is great.
Agreed.
Get it out of the game.
Oh yeah.
They're still finding the right balance, but I absolutely agree.
Yeah, like Donnie Katz would have gotten 37 technicals in a year, but it's all right.
Although that flop that they called a Matan
It was ridiculous.
got
It was awful.
trucked.
Yeah, he got trucked. He got totally trucked. Another offensive rebound. Five 12.
All right, we're seeing some reserves now. No, it's Gav.
Man, Matan's stuck on 29. Is he out? No, he's in there. There he is.
There we go. There we go. Really,
Oh.
guys. Oh,
Bad passes. What are you doing?
Yeah, I
man?
don't know why.
was this the vaunted Matan 3 we've heard so much about?
We only have 7 turnovers.
That's what you love to see.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, a couple of them just came now, but
It helps to play like kind of a passive bat box and one. Not a lot of ball pressure, but yes, it's still great.
By the way, shouts to SJ also. Let's go, Max Zakheim making a season debut repping Rabbi Cement Shear. Shouts to Rabbi Cement, the man, the myth, the legend. There we go. Some sheer variety.
Yeah. We have 20 assists, 7 turnovers. They have 7 assists, 22 turnovers. So
What's the rebound count now?
it's 19-7
Honest-
offensive, 48-32 overall.
Matan is 15.
Matana's half our rebounds. Okay. Yeah.
It's the Matan game we've been all waiting for.
This is like his career game, right?
Yeah, this is a
Yeah, for
defining
sure.
Matan.
Yeah, it's a lot better than his triple double yet against Webster because I felt that game was just easy passes to both strong sides, as Benji would say. Both wings were just open.
Putting it out there to Max Nation and Ball Habatim Nation. We
Go
have to-
Matan!
Now he's gonna kick it out. Max, let's go. Yeah.
Ow!
Yeah.
It's another assist.
Zakheim showing us something with the 3 ball, 4 for
You got, this
7.
guy Zakheim's a game changer.
Yeah,
He's a game
such an
changer.
addition. And you don't have to worry about Zevi's legs as much with him in.
He's a game changer, man. He can shoot.
I
it, he
didn't
can
realize
drive
he
it.
was this good a shooter. When I watched
He wasn't.
when I watched his recruiting videos,
He
I
was
didn't
more.
see
He was more known for the mid-range game.
No, he's.
I saw all layups. Basically.
I asked Elliot. He said he's good. He's come a long way with the jumper, and it looks
Wow.
great.
Heyo.
Zevi's
Wow,
legs are tired. He's tired.
Yeah,
Everything's
Zevi's done.
short.
We could take Zevi out, let him rest. I don't mind that.
Guys,
Yeah.
this is an emergency. We need better nicknames.
Another rebound by Mata.
Oh, they call a foul. We go to the line.
Give him something.
No, I think it was a travel.
Oh. We need better nicknames for Matan, guys. I'm putting this out there.
Yeah, that was his 5th turnover, so it must have been a travel.
Matan has basically all our stats. He has all our turnovers, all our rebounds, all our points.
Ooh, shouts. Matt Snyder in the chat. Friend of the pod. Former Ball Habatim guest. Calvin and Hobbes himself. Matt Snyder. Shouts to Matt.
Shout out to D3 Datacast.
Yes, D3 Datacast. Tune in. Those guys rock.
Matt, I tried to tell them about the boxing out this year. They didn't listen to me.
Matt Snyder in the chat. Thought we were boxing out this year. Spoiler alert. Nope.
Matan is getting his.
Yeah.
Go.
Let's
Fish.
go. Let's go.
Oh, stop
man.
passing it.
Goose.
Goose is loose.
Got another foul. All right, get Matan out.
They're going. I think Matan's fouled out.
He's gonna foul out before he can do it.
The dude is
I
truly.
love it. They should have let him shoot the technical.
He has truly.
Yes!
I agree with you. He has truly filled the stat sheet. He's got 5 fouls, like 5 turnovers, 3 steals, 29 points, 15 rebounds.
Is that
He's not-
Ibki?
He's just doing it all.
He's done the whole game, man. It's just him.
He's been on the floor like 12 times too.
You just got to give the people what they want. I want Isomatan.
He's played every minute, I
He
think.
even got a nice elbow in there.
It looks like Ibki.
Yes, elbowed his own man. It's been
We're
an
boxing
eventful
ourselves
night.
out. That's the 3D chess we're playing.
It has been an eventful
He
night
needs
for
to back
Russell.
this dude down. The dude weighs at least 60 pounds less than him.
All right, now we got the subs in. Roy was quiet today, but
Travel.
it's okay.
Isn't that one of those gather things where he never actually got possession of the ball?
It's hard to see, honestly.
This is Goose's first minutes of the game, I think.
Who's
Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Audie and Goose to find minutes with Max and Oren and Zevi playing.
We're just a lot deeper now than we've been in a while, right?
I
I mean, it's a good thing. We talked about how when Max was out, we thought that the bench was so thin. You know,
look, you in that starting lineup, you replace Adi, who gives you, more tough defense, but not much on the offensive end. You replace that with Zachheim, and you get
That's
that
enough.
second threat on the floor. And it's totally different. Now you got
right?
Roy.
Also, Adi coming off the bench, it could feel very integral down the stretch.
Yeah, he can come in and give you a lot of energy if the game calls for it. Yeah, 100%.
Can someone what's like the, I mean, no pun intended, but what's the bull case for Goose, right? What's like the positive case? Like, we're gonna see something good out of Goose, because we were high on him coming into the season.
So I heard he
Yeah,
had
it
knee
seemed like
injuries
going into the
over
season, he was the
summer.
most hyped up recruit.
Yeah, he's played legit ball.
He has
I heard
some
he had knee
skills.
injuries over the summer.
What'd you say? Knee
I heard
injuries?
he dealt with some knee injuries over the summer.
He's looked good at times in certain ways. He's shot well. He early in the season, after the first few games, he had like a really just high field goal percentage.
Yeah, the first game Dalton looked terrible, and
He didn't really turn the ball over much early, and then I don't know. But he never really seemed to like mesh in the offense and pick it up well. I don't know. And then it's been downhill. He's kind of fallen out of favor, it seems, and they've got other guys coming back and playing well. And I don't know. I think, listen, like Benji was saying, these guys are all super young and have like they're freshmen with long careers. Who knows what'll happen? But where he is right now, this moment is kind of lower on the depth chart, probably, which is not a bad thing.
I mean, listen, I'm calling it now. By next season, most improved player is going to be Goose. That's my call. He's a smart player, and even with some of the limitations, a little bit slower. I think Shua, some of your early work on the passing charts, like we saw, like just Goose had very few inbound passes, very few outbound passes. But I think he's a smart player. He's played serious ball. I think with someone to work on it, get his knees right, I think he'll be good.
That was a good pass.
yeah, what happened?
Drew loves to tell us that Goose played against Bronny James.
Yeah. Who was that? Sklar? Who's
He
Sklar?
didn't look that.
Claim to fame.
What happened? Did he just pull up short, or that was a great pass by Audie?
I think Roden. Oh, look at the stat sheet.
Roden?
Roden's in. Natkin, Igboy.
Roden down the road might inherit the Patesh role right now.
Is Rhoda number 4?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Where did he come from?
I can never tell the
Canada.
difference.
Sorry?
He went to
Canada.
Chad.
Chat.
I can never tell the difference between Roden and Sklar because they just both have that glorious hair, like Ari Lamb circa 9th grade.
I know
Yeah,
Elliot's
actually-
very high on Roden's potential.
I saw Roden's alma mater at the Wiener tournament in Baltimore this weekend, and like they were pretty poor. And I was thinking, like, you guys miss Roden.
Roden's a shooter?
He could shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
He could dribble. He could see the floor.
During
well.
pregame warmups and at halftime, he's hitting from he's consecutively hitting half court shots.
He airballed one the last game, right?
Yeah.
By a good margin.
No one was shooting the rock well.
No, it doesn't mean anything. I was just just to get in my mind who he is. Goose, he's not running very well. I don't know.
We've seen him. Yeah, we've seen him be slow. Yeah.
Well,
Not just,
slow-footed.
not just slow. Like his gait, there's something. You guys said he had some injuries.
That's what Shua said.
I recently heard
Yes,
that he had knee injuries.
Yeah, something looks a little strange with the way he's running.
To shouts to Gary Fetter in the chat. Goose, stretch four who can grab boards in the defensive end is bull case for Goose. And then shouts to Bob. If Goose is 6'6", Ari is 6'4".
Yeah, he ain't 6'6".
Oh, the chief rabbi from the top rope.
Bob has nailed that. He is not 6'6".
Bob's just been dissing on everyone's height. He was the first one who jumped on Ryan not being 6'7".
Yeah.
Bob doesn't like people being listed higher than they are.
What is Ryan? 6'5"?
I think he was listed as
Midwest
6 without shoes in the official combine. I think he was 6'4" and something or 6'5".
Ooh, Nakin.
Okay.
That was a nice little jump.
Hey, yo.
Nakin is
Okay.
so
Deserves more
broad.
minutes. Deserves more minutes.
He's like twice my width, man. Look at that guy.
That's true. He's got a
He's so
low
wide.
center of gravity.
So wide.
Bob says the average YU player is listed as 2 inches taller than they are.
Yeah, you know what, Bob? We need all the help we can get. Okay.
This is the equivalent of the max Stern Center at 70. Taking what we can get.
That's right. Jews are like
Nice.
Jews,
Wow, so
Jews,
wild. Is that
Jews are
automatic?
like 2 inches shorter than they should be on average, and so we add 2 inches to make up for it.
Exactly.
That's the
The
case
height
for the whole
reparations.
NBA except Kevin Durant, basically.
Oh my god.
Proud to say I am 6'3", and I was always listed at 6'3".
Now we're
I didn't
talking.
play any games.
That's all she wrote. 5-1 in Skyline play with a rookie team.
Guys, that's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
These first year boys.
If
So
they
proud.
If this is if this team is legit going to compete for a conference the year after turning over the whole roster, like I can't. That means everything. That means that you've developed beyond a team into a program. Like that's what that means. And that's like a
Yes.
massive step.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. You guys, we did it. That was rad.
That was awesome.
I mean, guys, I closing thoughts. What do we got? Now we have the man, the myth, the legend, Rid Holtzman in the room. Closing thoughts on a young YU team.
Me first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes.
I just basically said it. I think, man, you're seeing a lot. I think the takeaway from this specific game is what Zevi's reputation now means for the rest of the team, because they came out in a box and won, which again you just don't see very often in college, and the reaping the benefits were guys like Matan, who had a career night. Like he played great, but all that space is there in the middle of the floor because one guy is dedicated to chasing Zevi around wherever he goes. I mean, that is a massive thing. And even if Zevi only had 13, 15 points tonight, that impact is immeasurable in making it easy for everyone else. That's one. The second takeaway is that Zach Heim is a game changer because he has a speed that no one else on the max has. He attacks closeouts with decisiveness in a way that none of the other guys do. A good passer, and the fact that he can clearly shoot the ball. So you're just adding another massive threat. And you can imagine lineups with like Zach Heim and Zevi and Oren out there. That's a lot of firepower. And Roy, I mean, it's a lot of firepower.
Doton and Roy. Yep, Doton
So,
Roy.
really, really awesome performance in the second half, especially clean up the rebounding, but a lot to be really excited about with this young Max team. And can't wait to keep watching.
You're on mute.
I'm Maine, Kenny Hiratson. Now we're talking, baby. By the way, everybody out there, like and subscribe to the Ball Habatim YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Make it happen, Captain. We will make the mighty Mayor Mizell, aka Mayor Weisel, on the ones and twos so happy if you hit that like and subscribe button. We're so psyched to have you all here with us, guys. This was like we had a lot of folks join us tonight, and some D3 royalty too. That was fun.
Hey,
Ben, you need you around more often.
I am here when you guys need somebody to come on, but I do want to say what you guys are doing is the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing. Like it's to see like a whole like media movement around like this team and the program, like someone who's kind of I was lucky enough to to be part of the beginning of it when Elliot took over the program and be able to play on the team 4 years and then coach 2 years with him and see the program grow and develop and start winning. And this being kind of one of the benefits of that and one of the rewards of that is to see how much coverage there is, how many fans are, and you guys keep building that with what you guys are doing. So thank you for all that you do. And I was really glad to be a part of it tonight. Whenever you guys are looking for another voice, I'm around. So thanks for having me again. And it's been awesome.
Now we're talking. For the Ball Habatim. These are the bandwagon boys, the legend Oren Glickman, resident stat head, the Oddmore of analytics, Shua Cohen, and
I'd like to add fanboy. Fanboy needs to be added to my title.
Oh yes, aka resident fanboy, the Rebbe of Jack Terrell, Ariel in here for a bit, silent but deadly Ariel in here for a little bit, and Hit Roltzman, Rid Holtzman, Renji Bitholtz. Yeah. By the way, last tidbit, my father-in-law, this is an absolutely true story. My father-in-law, shouts to Dr. David Schwab, swears up and down that David Ritholtz, Benji's father, is the best shooter that he's ever seen, better than Benji.
Pops could play. It is known. He tells me all the time.
He still has that customized Keepa Pops on it.
Absolutely, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
I also interviewed him
Shout
on
out Pops.
I also interviewed him on Benji Ritholtz night.
That's right.
Full
circle.
So good. Fellas, did it.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.
Have a great night.
That'll
Thank you,
tell y'all.
Good job, Benji. Have a good night.